Hello and welcome to another edition from Box to Box TV. I am your host Pete Diz, and today I'm going to switch it up and talk about something rather fun. Yesterday was quite a letdown in terms of the January football window in Europe shutting. It was pretty uneventful and largely or hugely uninspiring. I found that the media coverage across all manners of platforms was largely unwarranted. If you look at what actually happened, it was a damp squib of an affair and maybe the worst transfer window saga we've had for a while. It probably would make producers rethink their focus and redirect their budgets elsewhere next time. But anyway, we're going to move on from there and we're going to talk about something that I find quite interesting, and that is ideas for great footballing movies. Of course, these are movies that haven't happened yet in the majority of the cases that I'm going to speak about, because I find it quite strange that other sports such as American football, use pretty much the American-based sports, American football, baseball, and boxing, and even ice hockey to a smaller degree, have found box office and critical acclaim in one swoop of a project. And football hasn't really had that success. You could argue that 2005's Goal was a box office smash, as it wasn't really critically panned. I thought it was a good movie, not a great movie, but a good movie, which generated a large amount of money. In terms of the budget was 33 million, and I think it generated close to 130 million box office wise, so that could be seen as success. But you look at other films like Leeds United, which was the story of legendary football manager Brian Clough. He's a short tenure at Leeds United, where he lasted I think 44 days. That film was heavily critically acclaimed, but received or earned something like just over $4 million in the box office, which, you know, when I'm talking about critically and commercially successful sports movies, the American sports movies, when they get it right, they generally tend to hit $200 million and over, upwards, in terms of money generated at the box office. Some of these franchises, like the Rocky franchises, have generated close to $1 billion, if not more. So to put that into perspective, that Leeds United generated just a measly $4 million at the box office worldwide. But obviously I can't really talk too much about films in general that have already been released. But in my descriptions, always read my descriptions, by the way, because I always write a little bit of an article, a little bit of a backstory, not too much, don't want to bore you on the videos that I post. So read that. You're going to understand where I'm coming from more if I don't manage. Hopefully I manage to articulate myself well enough for you to understand the premise and the idea of this video. But anyway, ideas for great footballing movies that can potentially make loads of money at the box office and receive critical acclaim. I find in all of the successful sports movies, whether it be boxing, American football, baseball, you name it, there seems to be a relation in between subject matters, and there's always like a theme of the struggle, even the rags to riches, or tragedy. So I feel that football does have that, and more, since like football is such a commercially dominant sport. It is shocking that there hasn't really been a whole plethora of successful footballing movies. So well, that's the reason why I'm talking today about it. And I have some ideas for some good movies. First off, I do find that the English or British football doesn't really have the personalities in terms of global appeal that most of the world will relate to. You have to take into consideration that most of the world is living on less than $5 a day, or what is that in UK money? £3.50 a day. Most of the world is living on that kind of money. So modern day football, with a lot of people just won't be able to relate that straight off the bat. A lot of people won't be able to relate that. Of course, you can write modern stories that the Western markets will relate to, and the Western, in the West, there's a lot of money in the West, so of course they can still generate money and also critical acclaim. But I feel that there's almost like one hand tied behind a movie project's arm in terms of generating huge sums of money in the UK, due to this fact that already that you're cutting yourself off from most of the world with your ideas. Like, I don't believe that a Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi movie would make for a great movie. That, of course, with this, if there was ridiculous money involved and a huge studio, it would generate large sums of money. But if it was made by an independent studio with not so much marketing behind it, etc., and they just wouldn't do well. There's not enough personality. There's not enough relatability to that. Of course, they're fantastic players, etc., but I don't think that's enough to make a great movie. I do feel that the Brazilian and South American market in terms of making footballing movies has been largely untapped. I think if you go to South America, a well put together Pele biopic could do the trick. A Maradona biopic could do the trick, as the personality and the story is there. Even from modern days, a Ronaldo biopic, the original Ronaldo biopic would do well, and or Adriano biopic. He a player that touched on world class, but pretty much ruined his career due to an alleged substance abuse addiction. I think it was alcohol. There were rumours of other things, but I think alcohol. But in the UK, I do feel that there's probably one story that could do really well, and that is the Sir Alex Ferguson story. It's the story of the world's greatest manager, and if studios got hold of that and paired Brad Pitt with the lead role of Alex Ferguson and market it as the world's greatest manager, you could have a genuine box office smash. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for everything. Subscribe. See ya.